rush to say that it's from outer space. But it could be people in our future that have learned how to time travel. And maybe this is a critical period in our evolution when they're coming back to find out what they can do to just tilt it a bit or put it right or something like that. You don't know.
But here's the rub. Why don't crop circles form in front of witnesses? One of the most compelling arguments that crop circles are man-made is the shyness factor. They appear when no one's around. Statistician Ted Clay has never visited a crop circle. Instead, he's a cyber detective, analyzing crop circles via the web. Even from thousands of miles away, he sees human fingerprints all over the formations.
There's one really big reason to say you should be suspicious of crop circles. It's that they occur at night. If the purpose was to get our attention and to send us a message, wouldn't it be more effective to get our attention by doing it right smack in front of us in broad daylight? Why is it always seeming to be created out of view, out of sight?
Reg Presley has his own explanation for the shyness factor, a perhaps understandable reluctance on the part of superior beings to rub shoulders with violent primitives.
I love gorillas, but I wouldn't get in a cage with one. I don't think they're going to get in a cage with us because we've had people shooting at them, farmers shooting with shotguns, especially in America where they're allowed to have guns, you know. No, I don't think we're a happy bunch for them to even mix with.
So, UFOs, people from the future, an amorphous intelligence, an unknown form of energy, or just some common human mischief run amok in the fields.
They're getting more and more complicated. Now, are the people in the UFOs getting smarter? Are they getting more artistic? Is their message getting more complicated? And really, if you were someone in a UFO and you wanted to leave a message, wouldn't you go to the lawn of the White House and make a crop circle?
It's time to take a hard look at the evidence.
It's amazing.
Later, we'll investigate one of the most sensational pieces of evidence in which balls of light seem to create a crop circle in broad daylight. We'll also examine the findings of a research center that claims to have documented strange damage to the flattened crops. But before that, we'll be exploring some creepy encounters of the crop circle kind. There's no denying that crop circles have powers over human beings, to delight, to enchant, and some say even to heal. Whether that power is of this world or another is what's at stake. Paul Vigay may be the only person in the world whose idea of fun is to take electromagnetic readings from vegetables, flowers, and grain. It's a hobby that touched off his 12-year dedication to crop circles.
When I started out, I was fairly sceptical about the whole subject, but my mother had always been sort of had an interest in the paranormal, I suppose you'd call it. I went to visit one day with this little electronic measuring meter I'd made, and for a bit of a gimmick, I was touching it on some corn stalks she'd got hanging up. I was quite surprised to find I'd got different readings on different stalks, and she was quite amazed by this and got me to go in the other room while she muddled them up again. I came back in, sort of same type of readings on different stalks, and she got even more amazed. And eventually I said, well, come on, let me in on the secret. And she said that all the ones that there'd been no reading whatsoever on had come from a crop circle that she had visited, and all the others were from just ordinary crop.
This inspired Paul to dig deeper. After years of compiling strange readings, he's sure he's found a pattern. Flattened crops possess weak electrical charges, while upright crops are more energized. Paul sees the paranormal in these measurements, but Ted Clay sees the perfectly normal.
It comes as no surprise to me that you would pick up electrical differences between outside and inside a crop circle. I mean, standing wheat is kind of like a little lightning rod, and electrical charges tend to focus on the top, and it's going to be different from the electrical properties of wheat that's laying flat. but it doesn't tell you anything about how the crop circle was made. These are just characteristics of flattened wheat, flattened anything.
But not all observations of crop circles are so easily dismissed. Some crop circle enthusiasts say that no human could create some of the massive formations in a short English summer night. And they point to anecdotes about formations occurring in broad daylight in a matter of minutes.
There was a famous formation in 1996 opposite Stonehenge. It appeared within a period of 45 minutes in broad daylight.
It happened on a flight over Wiltshire. On the first leg, the pilot and his passenger passed over Stonehenge. They saw nothing unusual in the fields around it. The pilot landed at a local airstrip, refueled, and 25 minutes later was in the air again. This time, he spotted an enormous formation. It contained 151 circles and was one of the largest and most complex formations to date. Believers insist that there was no way the pilot and passenger could have missed such a large formation. Skeptics think differently.
Well, what I've heard of the story of the Stonehenge flyover is that they circled around Stonehenge. If you're circling around Stonehenge, what do you suppose you're looking at? You're looking at Stonehenge. Now, if there was a crop formation right here, it'd be pretty hard to be looking at Stonehenge and not also see the crop circle right here. But if it's way down here, it's a lot more difficult to be looking at both at the same time.
Here's another kind of evidence that seems to counter the argument that all crop circles are man-made. The infamous balls of light, or BOLs for those in the know. Balls of light may sound enchanting, but many say they're not.
I myself saw the so-called balls of light, and they were, well, literally these glowing spheres of light sort of sailing above the fields. Later on that same week, we experienced these strange black flickering shapes, and they were utterly bizarre. They were like these sort of black strobing effects that you could see them going and they were absolutely terrifying, I have to say.
Balls of light have not only been witnessed, they've been caught on tape above and around the fields that play host to crop circles. In July of 1990, photographer Steve Alexander decided to investigate crop circles for himself. He took his video camera and began to tape. Suddenly, a floating light caught his attention. This is what he videotaped. It's possible to explain it away as an optical illusion, a video malfunction, or even a white bird over the field. But there was an independent witness. A farmhand was driving his tractor that day when he saw what he described as a shiny, bright object that flew over him. It then disappeared. What it was remains a mystery to this day. The most sensational piece of evidence, the one that comes closest to hard proof for some believers, appeared in 1996. It seemed to confirm the link between balls of light and crop circles.
There's a couple of lights down there somewhere.
On this video, balls of light moved over a field below an Iron Age fort known as Oliver's Castle. As if directed by an intelligence, they apparently triggered the creation of a snowflake pattern in the field. It was every believer's dream come true. The Oliver's Castle videos seemed to be a slam dunk, the definitive piece of evidence. But within days, doubts began to grow, and the debate over its authenticity continues to this day. Later, we'll get the behind-the-scenes look at this famous video, and we'll be creating our own balls of light for the camera. We'll see if you can tell which ones are ours.